Yeah, so I've got about 15 minutes, and to keep myself on track, I've made some notes. So this is what I'm going to talk about. The slides hopefully will do it some justice. But so how I got into the industry and this job. So I'm going to talk about that. So how did I end up working for this company called Propellernet, and a little bit about who we are. I've said to myself, be honest with them, no bullshit. No bullshit. And then underneath that I said, don't swear. I'm going to struggle with this if it's being filmed, to be honest with you. Show them it's about what you do and not who you know, which it really is. I then wrote something like digital experience. Digital is experience, not technical. I'm coming at this from a sort of creative way of thinking about it. So anyone that's got a sort of technical side to their bow, that's cool, that's great. But I suppose when I think about digital, I'm thinking about the audience, the people, us lot basically. What do we use? What tools do we use? And what experiences do we want to get from them? And then I said, set my timer. Hold on. I'll set a timer. So that bit's not being timed, but the next bit is on the timer. Right. And away we go. Right. So, yeah, my job title is a bit weird, really. It looks weird to me seeing that because my job title has changed over the years. So I started working for agencies and was like an account director. I've had all these different job titles basically, and they don't really mean that much. It's more about kind of what you do. So my job at Propellernet is creative. So that's like working with an insight team. So people who are really good at looking at data or audience insights, and then being able to use that information and come up with ideas, and then find really cool, interesting ways to put ideas into the world. That's basically what I do. It's a bit of a blagger's job, to be honest. I then came up with a sort of title for this, which is make things that make you happy, because what I've sort of realised now in my twilight years, like 41, and I've had this like epiphany that I just need to do things that actually like make me happy, and then if you do that, then hopefully you can make others happy as well. So it's not rocket science, this whole thing, is it? Marketing, digital, it's not really well, it probably is for some of the technical people out there. Actually, I think that is rocket science. But what I do is very straightforward, and if you can start with a passion and a love for doing what you do, you're kind of going to be all right. That's kind of the crux of it, really. Sorry, that is the truth, that's it. So what things that I love, so in a literal sense, this is my wife Sarah, and these are my two little boys, Max and Sam. And they kind of help me be creative, because they support my many creative endeavours away from work and in work, and I'll talk to you about those in a minute. This is where I work. This is a bit of an old photo now. This is Propellernet. We're based in Brighton. Yeah, officially we're a search marketing agency. We come up with basically ideas and things and put them into the world, and the idea is to get us a little bit more visible in Google. So the brands that we work with, we do things that will make them, when you're searching for them, we will appear in Google, and that will lead you to buying more stuff, using more services, that sort of thing. Come in. I don't know why I put this in this bit, to be honest with you. This is what's on our website, and this is the kind of like pointless, but I can't even read it up there. This is what we do. Basically what it's saying is that we have lots of different disciplines in our agency. So you might be an expert in kind of coming up with ideas, you might be an expert in SEO or PR or content, or all these like jargony terms, but effectively what we do is we all come together, all these different elements, and we put stuff into the world. That's basically what we do. And these are some of the clients that we work on. So if you wanted to come work at Propellernet with us, this is some of the stuff that you'd be doing day to day. This is an award that we're like really proud of, sort of thing. And this is like, we're one of the best places to work. So every year this survey goes around and we have to fill it out. And basically we have to answer very honestly what it's like to work at this place. And each year we keep getting this lovely award, which is best places to work. And although this year I think we came 11th, so we've gone from first to 11th. So I don't know if actually that's tailing off, but it's an important thing to say, because it's about the culture in the place that you work, which supports your creativity for me. That this place supports my ideas and supports what I want to do with things, and that's a really great. If you can find a place to work that does that, you should just stick it out there. And I've been at Propellernet for 5.5 years, which is like the longest I've worked anywhere. I think I had a job once that was about three years somewhere, just about. But I've got no plans to go anywhere. I love this place, and I want to continue working here. My job is basically be creative and make stuff happen. That's how I sort of summarise what I do. The fonts have fallen off. I don't like that font. That typeface is horrible. So the creative bit basically kind of shows that really it just kind of wraps around everything we do. So we encourage the whole, I might have creative in my job title, but ultimately it doesn't matter what team you're in. Your job is to think creatively and be free to think creatively, whether you're coming from a technical viewpoint or an audience-driven viewpoint, whatever it is, you're supported to think creatively. Can't remember. And yes, so right, this is literally like a curveball now. So I was thinking, like, what do I talk about? I just launch into the work and launch into my background, but I wanted to talk about dream balls. So where we work, every month, if we're hitting our targets, we release a dream ball, and inside this gumball machine, it's a very literal gumball machine, is someone's dream. And if we're kind of performing well kind of commercially as an agency, then you get your dream could come true, and it might be like a trip with your family somewhere, or it might be to start your own business or whatever. That's really cool, right? That's a really lovely thing. But we've got this initiative amongst me and a few others, which is called Don't Wait for Your Balls to Drop, because if you wait for your balls to drop, my ball hasn't dropped yet. Ball, floor, Justin Bieber, I don't know. Dream balls. So the point is here, right, is if you work somewhere that supports creativity or, you know, just supports your kind of ideas, then it's not about waiting for a competition, because that's a really lovely thing. PRs love that, and we've won loads of awards and kind of talked about our dream ball machine, and that's all lovely, but it's essentially waffle. The good thing about where I work is that they support your ideas from the kind of grassroots level. So don't wait for your balls to drop. So I've basically, in the last 2 years, I am going to talk about some work at the end. Time check. Okay, I'm going to talk about some of the commercial work that I've done at the end, like client work, but I really wanted to get you guys infused about this. So my dream ball was basically to create a science fiction web series. So like, I'm a bit of a geek, I'm really into sci-fi, and I've created loads of content, but I've never created anything that wasn't like branded content. I'm so sick of the term branded content, I'm not going to say it again. I really wanted to create something that was real and could touch people and was part of my passion, and I love science fiction. So I've got I pulled in a load of mates, guys and girls who have got similar kind of passions. They might be into slightly different things creatively, but we all kind of rallied around this idea, and it's called The Red Stars, and we've created a 10-part web series, 5 minutes per episode. It's now in post-production, and we're putting it into the world next year. And I'm like, so now I love my job even more, right? Because the company have supported me in doing this great initiative, and I'm able to kind of like flex my creativity into one of my passion points, which is brilliant. So I guess the point here is like, it's all about the doing. Like, it's not about waiting for the opportunity to come along. Like, if someone just gives you a slight little glimpse of the opportunity, just jump on it and make it happen. And that's what we've done with the Red Stars. So I'm going to show you a couple of things. So the Red Stars, don't worry about this, I'm going to whiz past this. But basically, the Red Stars is a creative project. It's a kind of multimedia project. There's a science fiction story at the beginning of it, and there are lots of other executions of it into the world. So we've got a web series, we've got a radio show that goes out every Tuesday night on 1BTN Live between 8 and 9. It's completely manic. None of us have ever done broadcast before. We don't know what the fuck we're doing, and it's great fun, puts us outside our comfort zone, teaches us something new. Did Glastonbury last year. We took a whole kind of activation to Glastonbury, and we're doing 2 music festivals this year. We're also planning our own urban music festival as well, and all of this stuff is being done on kind of our own time on a voluntary basis, because we just love doing it, right? We just really want to kind of put our stuff into the world. So it's all about the doing. It's not about waiting for these opportunities to come along. You've just got to do it. Here's some of the projects. We're commissioning a sound system. I'm banging it really into my music. We're going to do a fashion partnership with Maharishi. Lots of different creative stuff going on. So this is my dream ball. This is me waiting for my balls not to drop. I'm going to show you a clip from Glastonbury, 60 seconds. So this was a live festival experience that we did last year, where we took the Red Stars into Shangri-La. Who's been to Glastonbury here? Got any Glastonbury people? Okay, I thought it might be more than that. Wow, it's a wicked place to go. You should go. This is what we did at Shangri-La, which was really fun, really insane. We built a whole installation. We had a whole narrative running through it, and I thought I'd share this with you. So that's the red stars. And I guess in terms of my place of work supporting that, what I'm really trying to do with that, apart from have loads of fun, learn loads of new stuff, and hang out at Glastonbury with my mates, is build up some entertainment case studies, because I really want to get some entertainment and music brands. That's my thing, and we don't have any at the moment. So by doing that, we can now talk about activations we're doing at music festivals, radio shows, all that sort of shit. So there is a kind of payback to the agency, which is starting to happen. This is my sort of career ladder. The next bit is about how I got into doing what I do, and I'll be completely honest with you, it's been a bit ramshackle. Like, I've literally kind of done this, all sorts of different jobs, which I'll show you in a minute. My journey started when I was a kid, and I did this competition at school, which was about, it was a creative writing competition. I've always loved creative writing. I'm not that good at it, which is why I work in marketing and I'm not an actual creative writer. But I wrote a story about the Smurfs, and really went to town on this Smurfs thing, and it sort of, I was a bit of a daydreamer, and that kind of stuck with me through everything I did. So I was always writing down ideas and like thinking of stuff, and that was good, but it meant I was academically piss poor, to be quite honest with you. I got 5 GCSEs. I think 3 of them were C. I got E's and F's. Like I was diabolical. And then I was going to go and be a painter and decorator with my mate. His dad offered me a job, and then I was like, hang on, I went away to university to visit some older friends, and I had the best like weekend ever. And I was like, Mum, Dad, I'm going to uni, and they were sort of trying not to laugh and encourage me. And so I went to college and I did this BTEC GMVQ thing in leisure, and like I smashed it because I really wanted to go to uni. I just decided off the back of this one weekend I wanted to go to uni. So I went and did this BTEC GMVQ, and then me and my mate, we went off to university. And basically that was a catastrophe. Like the first year I completely failed. I think I was doing like sports studies, because football was my thing as well. So I thought I'd do sports studies because I learn about football. And something else, failed it. But what the good thing was I did get into the football team, which became my thing. Like that first year I was like, I got in the first team, couldn't believe it. Did no work. Was rubbish, but got in the first team, so I was overjoyed. This is amazing. And then, like you do at that age, started partying quite hard and doing all the sorts of things you shouldn't. And I sort of, became that version of Maradona in my head. But I was still being quite creative. I was still kind of writing things, and music is in my family, and that started to come through. And so I put a band together. I'd always wanted to have a band, and I finally put a band together. And wrote loads of songs, and we did loads of cool shit. And so I had a band, so that became my thing. Again, uni, I didn't really turn up, to be honest. And then weirdly, I'm gonna have to really hurry, I'm running out of time, but weirdly, I was like sort of started to rebel against my upbringing. So my mum and dad were very musical, actually come from quite a sort of, I suppose, creative family, as it were. And for some reason, I'd never been able to really rebel, because they were always just really supportive about my creative stuff. And this is completely like out of my, I don't know why I did this. I'll show you a quote at the end, which I think I know why I did it now. But I went and like joined the army. Like I don't have a fucking clue why I did this. And I think it was actually a dare. Like me and some mates, there was like officer training corps, cadets thing. And the others didn't turn up to this training day, and I did. And I went through the whole thing, and then got recruited into like the actual it was not the actual army, but more or less the army, like the officer training corps. And I did it for a whole year, and I was like jumping out of helicopters, running around with guns, then doing gigs at the weekend, and then getting completely off my face at back to basics, and then going back to this like army thing. So that was really weird, and it wasn't until the last couple of years that I realised why I did that. And I think it was about putting myself out of my comfort zone, like massively out of my comfort zone, which did me a world of good. Pleased to say also, like, I realised then that I didn't want to be in the army, which my mum and dad were really happy about. So I managed to get through, and I ended up doing events management. So I talked about the courses that I failed. I ended up doing events management. I didn't get a great grade, but I managed to get a degree. But the main thing is I had loads of great experiences. Even the army thing taught me stuff that I'll never learn again, thankfully, but also put me outside my comfort zone, gave me real life experience. So for that reason, I'm glad I went. Academically, did I need to go? Not so sure, really, to be honest with you, but it gave me a sort of life experience. And then I basically had a degree, had this kind of okay, what am I going to do in my life? And I moved to London, got back with an ex-girlfriend, and she was really unimpressed when I basically told her that I'd got my first job out of uni, and I was a bin man, and it was wicked. It was the best job, still to this day, one of the best jobs I had. It was in Hammersmith, so I went back to my roots, went to Hammersmith and got a job on the bins, and I did that for 3.5 months, and it was a really cool job, genuinely really good, amazing job. And then I was a postman. became a postman, and my mum and dad were just obviously like, why is he, no, I mean, those are good professions. Like, I've got mates in those professions, like, that's cool. But like, they were like, why has he done this? Why, he's gone and spent all that money on student loans and now he's going to be a postman. And then I was a labourer, like, worked my ass off labouring. You know, I'm glad I don't have to do that job anymore. That was really hard. And then I got my first proper office job, and it was in the purchase and ledgers department underneath Hammersmith Hospital, which was where I was born. Weird. I mean, it's just a horrific job. That was a bad job, and I just thought, oh God, I need to work out what I want to do here. What's my career? What am I going to do? I'm interested in loads of different things. I need to kind of get a bit focused. And I don't know, I got to this thing in my head, I want to help people. And the first job that I got in a big head office was for, at the time, Help the Aged, and I worked in their events team there. So I got this events degree. So I worked for Help the Aged, and I worked in their corporate partnerships team and in their events team. And then after that, I went travelling in America for 3 months, which was an amazing experience. One thing I never got to do was like properly travel. So I got 3 months, went to the States with my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife. And we had brilliant 3 months, job break, so clarity, came back, what do I want to do in my life? What do I want to do? And I thought, I want to be a freelancer. I want to be my own boss, right? So I went and worked for this brilliant company called Slice, who are now part of Engine Group, and I got to work on my first brand campaigns. I had no idea what I was doing. I completely blagged the interview. Yeah, no problem, I can do that. No problem, I can do that. But once I was in there, really grabbed the opportunity, surrounded myself by better people than me, which is the thing that I always try and do, and got some great experience under my belt. And then I weirdly went back and sort of worked for a not-for-profit. I worked for the Scouts Association for a bit, not as a scout leader, but as a sort of in the marketing team there, and helped them with some stuff. And then I had a 3.5-year stint at Macmillan Cancer Support, which is an amazing charity, and back into third sector. Got lots of experience working in a marketing team there, and then with the brand partnerships team. And then went back into the commercial world and worked for a brilliant company called Splendid. Like, if you haven't heard of these organisations or companies, look them up because they're really, really good. And I know people there, so I can always try and hook people up as well if that's of use. Splendid still our brilliant independent PR agency, and I got to work on some awesome brands, including ones with tiny little logos, like Smirnoff up there. That's just like, look at it, it's so small next to the Miller Genuine Draft logo. I got to really kind of like work on some cool projects, and that became my CV. So, and this is like, you know, I was late 20s at this point. I'm like late 20s, going into my 30s, and I'm starting to think I'm now doing really cool work that I want to do. Whoa, this is it. So, got my head down. Was still in the band at this point, was thinking, are we going to make it? Are we going to make it in the band? And I was like, no, because I'm working for the corporation. I'm going to make it in the band, no corporation. And I was like, oh, going to make it in the band, we're going to make it in the band. And we went and we played Exit Festival. Whoa, not on that stage, it was a smaller stage. And then my little boy came along, this is Max, and the band thing, I'm still involved in music, but I decided I do need to earn some money, and so I parked the band thing, now doing that with the Red Stars, like winding my wife up again. But Max came along and I got into the London thing, so some of you guys, if you haven't already, will go and work in London at some point, and it's a great experience working in a city, and I definitely recommend it. I stayed there too long. It sucked the soul out of me in the end, literally. And then I moved to Brighton, and the plan was, we're going to get jobs within 2 months of getting to Brighton. We'll have jobs, easy, no problem. Look at my CV. Look at that. I thought it was great. No problem getting a job. Took 2.5 years, and this became my world, the commute thing for like 2.5 years. And it was really, really hard, and I was stuck in that kind of, I've got Brighton by the sea, but I'm London, going to Shoreditch. So Splendid, who I mentioned before, was going to Splendid, who were at Old Street roundabout, going there every day for 2.5 years. It was a killer. Wrap up, please. And then I got the job at Propellernet, and then the work. How long have I got on this? 2 minutes? Yeah. Okay, cool. So that was my journey. It's all over the shop. There is no perfect way to get into the industry. Just do. Keep doing stuff. The brief. So a quick example of client work. Evans Cycles, celebrate the 10th anniversary of our Ride to Work scheme and drive revenue for our commuter bikes and accessories. This is like a right bump back down, isn't it, from everything else. But so this is quite a dry brief, and this is how we got to it. So the insight was heart disease causes 26% of all UK deaths. That's shocking, but cycling can cut the risk by 46%. What can we do that? I really wanted to work with with some music in this, so we basically got on the phone, managed to convince Paul Hartnell of Orbital, so the older heads in the room would have heard of Orbital. If you haven't, then look them up. Big electronic dance act. We created a whole campaign which basically used the BPMs of heartbeats of commuter cyclists and then used that as the inspiration for an original piece of music. So he looked at the data outputs from that and constructed a piece of original music. We then got people who had been impacted in a really positive way by getting on their bike. It had changed their life. Their commute to work had changed their life from making them really unhealthy to healthy. Put that together into a campaign.
I was really, really unhealthy. I couldn't walk up a flight of stairs without really getting out of breath.
My physio told me brutally that I was overweight, but it was an awakening and it really made me think.
It's been 16 years since my mother passed away, deep vein thrombosis, and ever since then I've been concerned about my own health.
I try to accommodate my work around my cycling now. Being busy isn't an excuse not to do it.
Commute used to make me feel terrible. I'd wake up in the morning dreading going, knowing I was going to be sat in traffic. I'd get to work and think, how did I even get here? It's not only benefited my life, it's benefited my whole family's life, my children, my wife, all out riding. I can't wait to see the grandchildren riding their bikes.
It's 10 years now since I've been cycling. I've been excited.
If you want to watch the rest, you have to go to the Evans Heartwork page. We produce a bunch of content, so this is my job in action, create loads of content, work with the PR team to get it out into the world, etc, etc. The reason we did this is because we wanted to get coverage in places Evans would never normally get to be seen. That was the kind of purpose of it. That's a really good thing in Google's eyes. So we got coverage on Six Music, Steve Lamac's show. He played the record on his evening show, DJ Mag, Creative Review, Mix Mag. So the results are starting to come in now and they're really good. So we're basically getting... I won't play that because I haven't got time. So my closing advice... who better to go to than Bowie, really? Steal stuff, like when it comes to creativity, and then make it your own. That's kind of, that's such brilliant advice. This is kind of me in the guise of Forrest Gump. Just surround yourself with people who are better than you, more experienced than you. Like, do not be the best person in the room or ever think that you are. Like, I try and do that every day. It's easy for me, to be honest. Don't wait for your dream ball to drop, just go for it, don't look back. And this is my favourite quote, and I'll leave it on this. This is just the coolest quote ever. Thank you. Sorry it was a bit of a ramble. I really underestimated how long I was going to be, but thank you very much for being a good audience.